This is the Frontline Focus Podcast, an experiment dedicated to those on the front line of construction project sites, focusing on their development as the key to the construction industry's progress. This is Season 3. Our focus will be on the business of well-being, why safety is a strategic advantage. In each episode, we will talk with a construction industry professional to hear their thoughts on how to shift the frontline focus on improving the well-being for all workers. Well, hello again. This is a continuation of an experiment. This is the beginning of Season 3 for the Frontline Focus Podcast. We appreciate you checking out the first 2 seasons, and we've got some really awesome people in store for the next season. And joining me, as always, my tag team partner for this podcast adventure, Mr. Gabe Guetta. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I've had a really good week so far. I actually was on a phone call with a company called Elliston. For the people in the US that might not have heard of them, they're one of the biggest construction companies in Canada, and they just hired a director of mental health for the business, which I was like, that's awesome. So I was like, I need to talk to this individual. So I just got off a phone call with her, and I was just motivated. I was motivated that a leader like that is putting their money where their mouth is and hiring somebody to create that change. So that's how my day's going. I'm pretty excited.
That is an awesome segue to another awesome human doing a lot in that mental health, mental fitness space down in the deep south of the United States. Today, we're joined by a good buddy of mine, Carl Erickson from Benning Construction. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, brother. Can't complain.
That is a good thing, man. It's part of that gratitude that we try and practice with our mental fitness training. Glad for you to come here and tell us your story and that transition, because the role you sit in, this is something we were talking about before the show. A lot of safety directors in that Gen X baby boomer era, we did not come into these roles in that traditional path, right? We all say we didn't go to school for what we're doing. Back in the day, a lot of us were voluntold or just playing out told, but you kind of are exception to that rule, man. So we're excited to have you here and learn more about your path and your current work, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I actually started in construction back in the 80s. I actually quit high school is 85, March 13th. I still remember the day. I remember the weather. I remember everything about it. And I started as a laborer, and I've worked my way up through. I've been a project superintendent for about 25 years. And I moved into the safety role almost 3 years ago. And I was one that I asked to be put in a position. I just was motivated to get into that position, and I'm still really excited that I can make a difference in safety, in a safety culture, and then also to moving into the mental fitness side of it. That's been some dear to me for the last 3 years. Had a little thing happen to me. I was on a job site for 2.5 years, and they pulled me off, and I was like, man, we got one more building to finish. It's like, why are you pulling me off? Let me finish that last building. So I was a little upset that they did that, but my last day on the job, I got about 2 miles up the road, and I absolutely lost it. I was in tears and got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now, but that's when I realized the mental aspect of it, because back in the day, coming up like I did, we were meant to be construction superintendents, construction workers. You're tough. You're not going to show emotion, but that day changed the person that I am today. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. I love being in safety. Met a lot of good people in safety, and I still learn every day. So that's kind of my background and how I got to where I am today.
Carl, thanks for sharing that. I love your background. I love your story. I really appreciate you sharing that, especially about when you broke down. I mean, the amount out of any role in construction, superintendent, in my opinion, is not just the most important role in construction to determine if a job's going to go well or not. It is also the most stressful role in construction. And a lot of pressure, stress, work-life balance is pretty much non-existent. And so what you just described there, if there's any other superintendents listening, they'd probably be like, yeah, I've been in that situation, or it's happened to me, or I've been close to doing it, or I'm about to do it, whatever it may be, especially when you're getting close to the end of the job, whatever it may be. That's so thank you for sharing that. What was it that made you want to become safety? Because a superintendent becoming a safety professional, I've never come across somebody like that before, but I also think that it is probably the most powerful safety professional ever to be created, is somebody like yourself with your background, taking an interest and not being told to do it, but to have the passion to do it. What 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 was the spark for you to go that direction?
Spark for me, a little bit more about my background real quick. I used to be a volunteer firefighter paramedic. So to be safety oriented, we had to do, we had to take a dangerous situation and make it safe. And that's kind of always been a passion that I've had, is safety. And I was very passionate about safety on my job sites. To get in this position, I believe I can make a difference. I believe that I can make a difference and change safety from a compliance standpoint to a human performance and safety culture versus the old school way. And that's what really got me motivated to move into this position. And it's making a difference. I've seen a lot of changes with our company and all our trade partners. In safety, I pull up to a job site and it's like, "Hey, Carl," because I know most of the trade partners. So it's like, "Hey, Carl, how you doing?" I'm shaking hands with trade partners and we're telling stories. "You remember the when we used to this?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it's the respect I've got moving in this position has been great, and to have that ability to talk to the subcontractors and stuff as a safety director, and they see my passion for it, I think that's what really got me motivated to do it.
Yeah, and I think we were talking off air before we jumped on. You have that one tool in your toolkit that you can pull out that most can't. You can call BS
Right.
on the superintendent or anyone on site, because you know what it's like to be on the other side. You know what they can and can't do. And so and that also, not just you can pull BS as far as like you can get what you need done, but there's a level of respect that gets created through that process.
Correct. Correct. And I do call BS sometimes, just like, "Hey, I walked in your boots." You can't tell me, "Well, I didn't see it. I didn't know. I walked in your boots." So, and that's a lot. That means a lot to everybody in the field too.
So walking in their boots, Carl, you have a unique perspective and an opportunity to get a little closer to understanding what the field is going through, and potentially the office now, because you're in the office as well. What are some of the wellness challenges that the field or office is dealing with today?
Some of the wellness challenges with the office and the field, you've got to divide between the office and the field. And I don't care what company you're with, but if you're in construction, you got your office and you got your field people. Two totally different operations. Uh, the field people are out in the field getting their boots dirty every day. The office people go out maybe once a week or every other week to check on the job. So just getting that blend to get the office and the field together to where everybody feels equal is probably the hardest thing. And we've started doing some wellness things inside the company. We've introduced My Steady Mind. We've introduced Build Well Health. And that's open to the whole company. That's not just for field. That's not just for office. And we've had office people and field people in a classroom together for My Steady Mind. We've had them all together for Build Well Health, and trying to bring all that together. But that's two of the things that we've implemented, and it's really making an impact because it's getting talked about in the office. It's getting talked about in the field. I go out in the field, it's like somebody says BAMO. I know what that is, or somebody says, "Hey, Carl, I'm grateful that you're here." Or, "Hey, I had this last night. I sat and did meditation for a while." So it's that part's getting
That's pretty
going
cool.
good. And then we're also trying to do healthy. We got a wellness committee that we're working on and doing other things, not just with mental health, but nutrition, physical. So we're moving in that direction to try and get just a good wellness plan for the whole company.
Man, that's strong work. That sounds like a lot of investments. I'm curious if you can speak to the mindset of leadership, the executive leadership. How did you go to them to, kind of sell this idea of wellness, and why? Why is the company investing in wellness for a construction company?
I went to the execs and kind of told my story like I told a little earlier about breaking down after I left that job site, and told them about me going through my steady mind, and like, look, guys, construction, and some of them have already been doing stuff with mental fitness and stuff, and they've took it, and I just presented it and said, I think this would help our company by bringing these programs in, because you got to remember right now the number one killer in construction is suicide. So to me, if I could bring that in, if I could just change one person's life, just one, and give them the tools to change it, that means the world to me. And I'm grateful enough that I have an EIC team behind me that respects what I say, respects my decisions, and is motivated to help move things with the company forward.
I love this. I love the fact that you have somebody on a job site telling you that that you hear BAMO, right? That you have somebody talking about meditation. The construction industry has been built on a mindset of just performance, right? Like push hard, work hard, yell hard, get it done. The harder you push, the faster it's going to get done. But that's a broken philosophy that doesn't actually make sense. It's like, imagine driving your car, redlining it for 8 hours. The car would explode. And so I love that the mentality of the industry is starting to step back, which it seems ridiculous that we never thought of this. Like, wait a minute, our vehicle to success is the trade worker. You can draw up as many things as you want in the office, but execution is where it fails. And if we don't spend the time making sure that we take care of that person's mind and everything around it to ensure that they're actually at top performance, which isn't just screaming at them to be at top performance, make sure they're at top performance, then you start to see that result in so many different ways than just health and safety, right? Like, for one, let's make sure they're not dying off the site, but the performance of like how fast they get their job, the commitment to the job, everything. Are you starting to see a cultural shift through this with your subtrades? Like you said, they're happy to see you, but are you seeing a little bit more of a buy-in to wanting to be there, to being a part of something? Or what are you starting to see as repercussions or positive impacts of this movement you have?
Yeah, there's more buy-in. I think just we're just the trade partners, but they are buying in, because I go out and nobody's screaming. And our superintendents, we may throw our hard hats every now and then as a superintendent. I know I did. But the bad part about it is after you throw your hard hat, you feel stupid. You gotta go over and pick it up. But I've learned over the years of being a superintendent, you just talk to somebody in a normal tone like we're talking now, you get more respect, one, and two, they're willing to do the job versus if you were screaming and yelling like, "Hey, why are you behind schedule?" You go, "Hey, guys, look, we're behind schedule. Let's move forward this way." So I think the calmer you can be, even with your trade partners, the better performance and the better attitude you're going to have about showing up. And that's what I try to do when I make my job site safety audits. And I go in with a calm mind. I may see things that's like, okay, bammo breath, and go over and explain to them what's going on. But I'm seeing a lot of buy-in with our trade partners on that. We still have our difficult ones, but I think every general contractor has that. So
Progress is what matters, right?
Yes.
Continuous improvement.
Progress.
Carl, let's change gears a little bit about the industry at large. You've been serving in a leadership role for the agency, Georgia, through their safety committee. So you get to talk to other safety leaders outside of your tribe. What are you hearing from other safety professionals in the Southeast about this whole wellness concept and the ROI and why you invest in people? What are other people telling you?
Well, we're actually just had a sit-down panel with My Steady Mind, Build Well Health, Mike Lester, and one other guy, I can't remember his name, but I had a panel the other day for about an hour and a half talking about mental health, and there was about 20 other safety directors in there involved with the AGC. So it's getting talked about. It's one of the things that the AGC of Georgia is trying to put together to get mental fitness out to people and find resources that we can give people. So it's picking up, but also too, you got to remember in construction industry it's still new, but then you still got these ones that are hard headed, that I don't need, there's nothing wrong with me, and I thought the same thing until that one day. It's trying to get it out to the folks and give them the resources. And I think the resources that we give them, it's got to be on a volunteer basis to where you're not pushing it at them. Let them give them the information and let them make the walk. And then if you see somebody might be having an issue, then approach them in a polite, decent manner. Say, hey, I see you're struggling. What's going on? And here's a resource that we've gave you to use. So I think a lot of us safety directors are moving more in that direction.
How are you finding those? How are you finding the impact with those resources? I've struggled with mental health in myself in my life, and one of the things I struggled with was just the way in which resources are shared. It's like you click on something, and then all of a sudden you're taken to a website, and it's just this wall of text, and it's like, uh, are you finding that they're interacting with it, or are they hitting a wall? What have you found?
I'm finding with our group, interaction is probably more so than anything is the interaction I have with some of the people that have gone through My Steady Mind or have used Bill Health. So that the interaction part of it is probably the biggest part. If you can interact with somebody that's in it, that's been doing the mental fitness, if you can interact with them and then they interact with somebody else and then
Right.
and just kind of move the torch forward, which we have, and we have people that haven't done the My Steady Mind or the Build Well Health stuff yet. They have asked me about it and have asked other people about it. So interaction, getting the word out, I think is the best way to go about it. I mean, I don't know how else it would work without interacting with somebody.
And is that interaction just as simple as a conversation and listen? Like we were on a podcast with somebody else that's just focuses on mental health and mental fitness, going from job site to job site. And she said, the biggest thing is to ask the question and listen. Are you finding that it's just as simple as that, or do you have other tricks that you are using to create the spread of awareness?
No, it's basically as simple as that. Just ask the question. Ask the question and listen. If you get somebody that's willing to talk and you listen and then your emotions about what they're discussing with you, if you just have that look on your face like, I really don't care what you're saying, they're going to have that same reaction. They sit there and spill their story. You have that look on your face at the end of it, they're going to say, well, he didn't really pay attention. But if you show emotion and interact with them as they're discussing what might be wrong and support them while they're telling you, I think that it's as easy as that. Just have a conversation like we are now.
Yeah, I think that's an important statement. A lot of a lot of initiatives that we have the luxury of working with lots of different companies out there and seeing this. I think where it fails is people spend too much time on the perfection versus the continuous improvement and progress. And if you're thinking, if people think it's like, oh, well, we have all the content in the document, we have this plan where they can go from here to here to here to here to here. It's like, well, here you go. And they're like, well, nobody's interacting with it. It's like, well, did you start with just that conversation? You don't need any of the other stuff. I think that's so important. It's like, that's sometimes the hardest thing to do because you're going right up and facing it versus, oh, I can do all this busy work behind the scenes where it feels like I'm helping. But wait a minute. Carl's going out there every day and just saying, how are you doing? And creating conversation. And then that next person creates a conversation with somebody else. I think that's just really powerful.
And I try to do that every day. I mean, I get to the office when I go into the office and, I say hi to everybody, shake everybody's hands. I get on the job site, walk up the same thing. I meet my superintendent, shake their hands, and I get around the foremen for trade companies. It's like, hey, how you doing? Shake your hand. How's things going? Everything good? So to have that interaction with people, that can break the ice to get them into a conversation. So that's one of the things I've always done. Even as a superintendent, every morning I'd go out to my subs and say, hey, good morning, how you doing? Shake their hand. Everything going all right? Do you need anything from me? How can I support you today? So I think being have that interaction is probably one of the best ways to get things moving forward.
Sometimes that's the one thing that people are waiting for, right? They will never say it. Their actions might be completely contradictory to what that what they
Right.
need is. But sometimes they just need that one person to come and say what you just said. Hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
And then it might just be like, whoa, they just broke down, or whoa,
Oh,
they
yeah.
just all this thing unlocked. But when you think about our lives today, if you count the amount of times that people actually genuinely ask you those questions, genuinely, not like, hey man, how's it going?
Right.
It's almost non-existent, because on the other side, we're also terrified, like, oh no, what happens if they start telling me all these things? What do I do? Right? People don't know what to do with that. But it is as simple as you're describing, Carl.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple. Just show one that you generally, when you ask them, "Hey, how's your day going?" that you are genuine about it. And it's happened. I've opened many a conversation just by being genuine. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? And next thing I know, I'm standing here an hour and a half later, and I may have said 10 words to everything they said. So it's that, like you said, that one question and being genuine.
Out of curiosity, with the new tools you're providing to your team, what's the one you think has made the most impact that people have told you about? Is it trying breath work? Is it something as radical as a little bit of a cold shower in the morning? Is it peer-to-peer coaching? Which one have you gotten the most reaction from?
I actually got the most reaction from just conversation and adding a journal. I went and got journal for a lot of the people, and they've been using the journals, and I think just having that ability for them to sit down and use their journal has really helped and impacted the way things are going. And then, like I said, walk around the office, you just get somebody to say "Bammo" as you walk by their office. It's like, okay, do I have that look on my face like I'm about ready to explode and that they're yelling out "Bammo," or are they just yelling out "Bammo" because, you know, we were both in the same lingo, it's like, what did I do? So, but no, I mean, the breathing techniques, I think, is a lot. Also, I mean, I get a lot of comments about, yeah, I use the Bammo breath and I've had other people telling me about different breathing techniques they're using. So I think that's really caught on because that 4-second pause as you breathe in to count, and you can't think when you count. And then you exhale for 4 seconds and count anyway as you exhale. You can't think of anything, so it gives you that pause, and I think that's helped out a lot in the field and even in the office because, I mean, you can tell people it's like a relief. So, yeah, the breathing techniques are probably one of the top ones also.
Well, it's such a different presentation, right? Several years ago, I would wager most construction workers, if you tried talking about breath work, would be like, I'm not doing all that hippie foo-foo stuff. You're crazy. What? Get out of my face. And then when you actually explain it the way Dr. Seth does with the My Steady Mind program, and you get them to try it. I remember being at your office last year and seeing that spark in a few eyes where they got it. That immediate relief, like, oh, whoa, wait, what's going on here? And then it's kind of like, this feels good, but it feels weird. It feels funny. What is this? But it creates that operational language that you're using. If you're telling me you walk down the hallway and somebody looks at you and says "Bammo," they're looking at you and they can tell.
Right, right, and
They know what's up.
yeah,
That's cool, man. That's a big change in energy signatures for a tribe.
it takes work. It's not something that just happens. You gotta work at it, and you gotta want it. So, I mean, you can start off and get people involved, but if they don't want it, they're not gonna do it. But if they want it, you can change a culture by getting people involved and people that want it. Like, I've had people come to me and said, "Hey, I wanna take My Steady Mind," or, "Hey, help me out with Build Well Health." So, to have that interaction and then get people talking about and then get people and then people wanting it, that makes a difference. If you want something, you're gonna work to get it. If you don't want it, you don't wanna push down you, and you're gonna just put it on the back burner and say, "Oh, the hell with this, Carl's stupid," "I'm gonna do what I wanna do." So that's the way I look at that.
Yeah, and we're human beings are very influenced, right? So if somebody next to you is like, and especially if they are that leader, natural leader, where everyone's looking at them, they're like, this is crap. I'm not going to do this. Then you have this culture that's just constantly like that. But if you start seeing more and more people doing it, you hear the word "Bammo" on site and all this stuff, and that culture is there. It's just it's still human nature. There's people that are early adopters to things, and the people that are more, once everyone's done it, eventually I'm going to do it. But the fact that anyone has come up to you and said, "Hey, how can I get into this?" That's incredible. Like Rob said, 10 years ago, that wasn't happening,
And it's just
right?
5 years ago,
Yeah.
5
right
years
before the
ago.
pandemic.
I was just about
Yeah,
ready to
nope.
say about 5 years ago, it wasn't happening, and then we had the pandemic, and I think, yeah, the pandemic was bad, but I think in the long run, it probably served a purpose to get us to more thinking of mental fitness and other parts of our lives. Yeah, the mental fitness 5 years ago before the pandemic, it was not even thought of, and now you're hearing more and more of it in the construction industry, and I think that's what we need to get out to the construction folks, because as a superintendent, you live and breathe that job. From the day it starts to the day you walk off that job site, that's all you live. That's all you live and breathe.
Yep. You're on full time.
Yeah, even on the weekends, you can come home, because I traveled. I traveled for probably 30 years. So I'd be gone. I can go back to a time about 8, 9 years ago where I was in Florida and then up in Richmond, Virginia for a year and a half. I was gone for a year and a half. I come home 5 times in a year and a half.
It's hard.
So, I mean, a superintendent lives and breathes that job, and even you come home on the weekend, you're still thinking about, okay, Monday I get back to work. I got this, 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 and this. I got a big concrete pour next week. So you don't ever think about it because we were taught to be tough. But now it's like, get the mental health, mental fitness out there to these people because it makes a difference. But you got to get rid of that tough mentality in the people my age and older. You got to get them to realize that, hey, this is going to help you. And how you go about doing it is, something that you got to get rid of that tough man mentality.
And it's not just you. One of the things I've been doing this, working with this app called Waking Up. It's really talking about mindfulness and everything else, and how to pause and kind of just stop everything, all the forward thinking, all the dwelling, all the everything, and just be present. And one of the biggest things that it was advocating for is it's not just for you, it's the people around you, right? Your wife, your children, your friends, your family, whatever it may be. And I see this happening, even though I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I like to think I'm pretty self-aware. I still am, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I'm having a bad day at work, the people that feel it the most are the people that are closest to me, because I'm going to show them. I'm not putting a wall in front of my wife and children. If I'm upset, I'm off. If I'm going to a baseball game and I'm talking to my kids' friends' parents, oh, everything's great. How you doing? Yeah, everything right. It's
Yep.
just this fake thing. But at home, the people you care about the most are the ones that are most affected by you being in torment.
Correct.
And so you fix that, you fix so many things. You can't fix things around you before you fix yourself.
It's kind of funny. We're going down this avenue the other day. I was talking to my son. He's like, Dad, I don't want to work my life away. He installs fiber optic. And he's like, I don't want to work my life away. So I don't want to work on the weekends, and I don't want to do this, because he went out and bought a skid steer to clear his property. He bought some property to build a house on. So he went out and bought a skid steer. I asked him, he says, I thought you were going to use that to like work on the side and work in the evenings on it. He says, I don't want to do that. I said, I'm going to tell you what, you don't want to do that. I said, I worked my life away. I wasn't there for a lot of things with my family because I was traveling, and you're right. They're the ones who are affected the most out of all of it, no matter if you travel or not. But I mean, even an office person, you take that work home with you, it's going to affect your family. I'm grateful enough that I've learned that over the years, and I'm trying to change the way I do things to where I involve my family more. Like, my wife will go with me sometimes when I go out of town or on site, out of town to do my safety house. My wife will go with me. And before, she wasn't able to because I'd be gone for weeks at a time. So, try and I don't know how to put this one. As far as mental fitness goes, if you can get your family more involved in your life and get rid of the work life and be in the presence with your family when you're home, I think would make a big difference in construction if you can be in the presence instead of forward thinking or backwards thinking.
I couldn't agree more. When we think about the issues in construction, the suicide rate, the mental health, the substance abuse, all this stuff, the performance on a job site, the rework, all of it, a lot of it comes down to, yes, all the stuff we're talking about, but it also comes down to the fact that construction, there is no work-life balance when you're in the field of construction or even in the office a lot of the
Yeah.
times. Like, think about the pandemic here for a second. We had global shutdowns where you could not go anywhere. You can't be around people, but yet construction sites are open. Construction workers are still working night and day. And then when it stops, it doesn't stop after the pandemic. Like, I remember being in construction. I have more of a work-life balance now running a company than I did when I was in the field of construction, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
I
you would,
do, and I do too. It moving into the safety director position, I have more of a work-life balance than I ever did before. And for me, when I moved into this position, I'll never forget it. It was, well, November will be 3 years ago in November. I actually moved in this position. I left the job site the day before Thanksgiving. So Monday after Thanksgiving, I'm sitting at my dining room table, taking an OSHA 510 class, virtual, at my dining room table. By Tuesday at noon, it's like, I have got to get out of here. I was going nuts. It's like, what am I doing? Do I really want to do this? Because it's like, I was always used to being on a job site, and going 90 miles an hour all day long. It's like, okay, but yeah, my work-life balance now is, I work from home some. I'm home in the evenings when my wife gets home. I travel a little bit, like last week I went down to Montgomery, Alabama and come back. I was gone for one night, but I go to the office, I'm home every night. So my work-life balance is so much better.
yeah. And it creates that mentality too in construction. Again, like, we have to really think about this because people aren't choosing to join construction right now, right? A lot of people that have spent their careers, not everyone, but they might spend their careers as trade workers in the field, might be telling their kids not to get into construction, right? We have to take this seriously. We have to figure out how to create an environment where you kick ass at your work, you're proud of your work, you're a part of something, you want generations to follow you in what you're doing. It's changing. I'm not saying blanket statement, everyone, this is the problem. There's a lot of incredible things happening in the industry, but holistically, it needs to change. And what comes out of that mentality a lot is I personally, a lot of the times also can't sit still. Like, I feel like if I'm not physically doing something, I'm not providing value to my work, my business work, or even at home. Like, what am I doing sitting here? Like, I got to go mow the lawn. I got to go clean
Yep.
the garage. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. Like, it's like, well, hold on a second. Maybe just sit down and play this stupid board game with your kid that makes no sense, but they love it, and figure out a way to get involved in that where you love it, because that's what
Mhm.
creates the memories and the moments that really matter in life. But
No,
yeah, anyways.
you are correct. I had the privilege of like working from home. I get more done when I work from home because you're not walking around the office and talking to everybody, or people go by your office, stop to talk to you. I get more work done when I'm at home, but I don't feel like I worked because you go back. I was a superintendent for 25 years. I was on a job site. I would leave, go to the job site, leave the job site, go back to my RV or hotel room. So for me, when I work from home, I get more done, but I don't feel like I worked.
Yeah,
If that
and
if
there's
that
this
makes if
guilty
that makes
thing in your
sense.
head, right?
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, what did I do? I didn't do anything," right?
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, and it's like, I need to be doing something, and it's like, okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff done today, but I don't feel like I worked. Now, if I drive an hour and a half to Atlanta to the office and get half the stuff done that I would at home, it's like, I feel like I worked, but it's like, just because of that mentality.
Yeah, or get on the job site. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Carl, it's been an amazing conversation. We appreciate what you're sharing. If there's one piece of advice you could recommend to somebody, if there's a construction company listening that's hearing you talk about all this wellness, what's the one thing you would encourage companies to do to start their journey, man?
I encourage them to reach out to the resources that are available and take them and don't take it lightly because if it impacts one person, the investment you put into it, it could save a life, and you can't put a value on a life. We went out and bought AEDs and put on all our job sites. They're expensive, but if we had to use it and it saved one person's life, is that money that you spent worth it? Like I said, you can't put a value on a life, and that's just, get the resources, get involved, put it out to people you think that would be acceptable to it, and use it, and just let the ball start rolling within your organization, and just take it from there.
Man, that's a mic drop. That's words of wisdom. Carl, appreciate you joining us today, sharing your thoughts and your stories. This is a great conversation, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I enjoyed
Yeah,
being
thanks, Carl. This is an incredible conversation. Thanks for your time.
here. Thank you.
Gabe, thanks for joining me today. We're finding so many amazing people to talk to and share so many conversations. This is going to be a fun adventure as we keep going forward.
No, I'm excited. It's just the more we talk to people, the more I'm learning, the more excited I get about the progress in construction too, the things that are happening. So that's the big thing. And hopefully we can help power that and make it expedite the pace in which it moves in any way possible, even if it's just the smallest bump up. We're happy to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Frontline Focus Podcast, powered by Salus. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Or better yet, leave us a comment on our social media platforms to let us hear your thoughts about this conversation. Until next time, keep moving safety forward.